All right, Detroit does it again. They always hiring a guy. Or for some reason we always, or you guys still always get your hopes up, and they put you right down in the doo doo brown ground. People are, oh man, we gonna get Josh McDaniels. We couldn't even get Art Smith. All right, but there are some things that just hanging around social media. I ain't do no hard digging. Apparently, him and Ben Johnson is close. They work together at Boston College. Excuse me, real quick. They worked together at Boston College. He also was at Ben Johnson's wedding. Um, Also, just for me thinking about Arizona, one thing I noticed, he did a lot of great things with a statue of a quarterback like Jared Goff with Jacoby Brissett, and he didn't do so good things with what's the guy's name, with Kyler Murray, which Kyler Murray is an acquired taste. I mean, because he hasn't really mastered the pocket like Drew Brees did. All right, when you look at Kyler Murray, he's more talented than Drew Brees. Physically, better arm, better legs, better agility. I mean, shit, he just mentally he ain't there. I mean, this dude take a picture with a Mike Vick jersey on, what with a dog. I mean, his hairdresser legitimately outed him, on the internet. So I say all of that to say this. This dude has had success with the quarterback similar than Jared Goff. He's also dealt with a locker room that probably an organization that did not like the quarterback, and somehow he still succeeded to a certain extent. You know, um, they had to put a clause in Kyler Murray's contract for him to study film and stop playing Call of Duty so much. So I don't know how to pronounce his name. Drew Petzing. I ain't watched nothing. I just anything I seen. I just read some headlines. I read some headlines about him. So I don't know. I just know just what I know for watching the Arizona Cardinals. But he had a lot of success with Jacoby Brissett. He's from upstate New York, Rochester, New York. I know some people up there. Shout out to the upstate New York. He was a Harvard volunteer student assistant, Boston College graduate assistant in 2010 to 2011, Yale, Cleveland Browns football operation intern, offensive assistant at Minnesota, assistant wide receiver coach in Minnesota, assistant quarterbacks coach in Minnesota, Vikings wide receiver coach, Cleveland Browns tight end coach, Cleveland Browns quarterback coach, Arizona's offensive coordinator. So I mean, for the most part, we only can really pretty much, look at what he did in Arizona. So I don't know which game Kyler Murray got hurt in. Let's see if we can figure it out. Okay. I mean, for the most part, I mean, they start off 2-0. Lost to a point by the 49ers, lost by 3 points to the Arizona Cardinals, lost by a point to the Titans, lost by 4 to the Colts, lost by 4 to the Packers. I mean, beat the Cowboys by 10. I mean, they've been in games. Jacoby Brissett, 261, 2 touchdowns. I mean, he did great things with Jacoby Brissett this season. And Jacoby Brissett reminds you of, guess who? Jared Goff. He exactly reminds you of Jared Goff. The thing about it is this. Can he run the ball? And we're gonna get into that. Can he run the ball? So we'll look at Arizona's offense in a minute. Um, so we're gonna be objective here. So his log, I mean, let's look what he did this year. 8 interceptions, 23 touchdowns, and 12 starts and playing 14 games. He had almost a 65% completion, 3,366 yards. Um, looking at this log, I mean, he was dealing. He was dealing. He had a 3 touchdown game versus Houston, and that's the league's best defense. They lost though. They had 250. More touchdowns, and he had one game where he had an even versus San Francisco. I mean, overall, 320, 279. He started the Arizona game. He threw one attempt, and that was it. So, he had 57 attempts in San Francisco. 452, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Jacoby Brissett, for all fairness, Jacoby Brissett is he's Jared Goff. I think Brissett might have a stronger arm, but Goff is a better quarterback. So, and obviously there's an elephant in the room here, a couple of them. And I'll address them in a minute. But I kind of want to see what Arizona done, to keep it a bean. I kind of want to see what Arizona done in the run game. And with Kyler Murray, also with Kyler Murray, you can't do a lot of things that you want to do under center. That's another issue with Kyler Murray. You can't do what you want. You can't do really what you want from a football point of view with him under center. So at the end of the day, I truly I understand that. And maybe with Jacoby Brissett, they done more of what they wanted to do under center. So I kind of want to go through some of they statistics as far as what they did in the run game. So what game we went to, the Cowboy game? Let me see what game he started off in. So okay. So honestly, looking at it, this Colts game had like Xavier Knight had, I think he played for the Lions for me. He had like 30-something rushing yards. He had 57 versus the Packers. Versus the Coon Boys. That Amari, the dude that fumbled the ball at the goal line and Jonathan Gallen put his hands on him. He had 79 yards versus whoever that was, Cowboys. Is that the Seahawks? He had 64 on 4 carries. It don't. And one thing you noticing about this guy, he threw it 31 times versus Dallas. 30. I want to see the team stats. But I want to see. I really want to see the team stats. But let's just keep going. He throwing it 50 times. Top rusher got 5 carries. Hold on, they might be in a bit of trouble. He threw it 57 times, and the top rusher had 5 carries versus the 49ers. Yeah, I think we in trouble. I think, just looking at it, he threw 31 times versus Atlanta. His top running back rusher had 11 carries. I'm not liking this rushing ratio. 5 carries, 50. Yeah, we in trouble, bro. Yeah. We is in trouble. It's over with. Y'all niggas might as well take that Lion money y'all got. Take and get some Pistons Red Wing tickets. Save it up for your Killers college fund. Because what I'm noticing here about this guy, he's a heavy pass guy. And one thing about it too, with Dan Campbell, Dan Campbell is a passing maniac, bro. Dan Campbell is a passing maniac. Even when he got into the game, bro, he was to me, they wasn't as balanced. The true balance, in my opinion, the true balance was Ben Johnson. You seen it last night with Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson, I think he was the Detroit Lions, and I fuck with Ben Johnson. I can't even root against him. I think Ben Johnson was this team, bro. I think he was everything for the Lions. I think this shit is dead, bro. I think this shit is dead because I think Dan Campbell he is he's addicted to passing the football. He's addicted to passing the football. And then one of the bigger elephants that I was addressing in the room was that this nigga got his nose up Ben Johnson's ass crack. Think about it. The first rumor that came out was that they were looking to poach somebody off of Ben Johnson's coaching staff. Remember they was looking to, that was a report that came out. They was looking to poach somebody. Now you go out there and you get this Drew, Petzing guy, and him and Ben Johnson, was on the same Boston College coaching staff, and he was at Ben Johnson's wedding. Yeah, he's trying to recreate the Ben Johnson storm, bro. He trying to recreate the Ben Johnson storm. This dude is a Ben Johnson addict. I think Dan Campbell realizes that without Ben Johnson, he ain't shit. I think that's the consensus at this point. Seeing what Ben Johnson did in Chicago, even the play that he drew up last night that was picked, that was allegedly due to DJ Moore having a concussion. Because had DJ Moore would have broke that route, had to flatten that route out, that would have been 6. I mean, that would have put them in a position to win. This team was Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson, seeing him say "fuck the Packers" and get Sean McVay and them panties in the fucking bunch, he was the Detroit Lions. He was in Detroit Lions, bro. All that attitude, the swag they had. That's why. They sat there towards the end of the season. They was deflated when they could make the playoffs. But when they played Chicago, they found their Bruce Leroy glow. That's why they was so. Ben Johnson, in reality, he probably should have been the Lions head coach. I'm just talking about how. I'm not saying I would have did it, but Dan Campbell is proving the fact that he won a Ben Johnson clone. Anybody that sat in Ben Johnson sniffed his cup of coffee. But we'll see. Juan Buchanan says that Drew Petzing loves having a dominant run focus, pound the rock, 2 tight ends, play action on paper. I see logic behind this hire, but he can't scheme a good receiving game. He ruined Murray. I mean, he was throwing that bitch with Jacoby Brissett. All that I'm seeing, as far as what he doing with Arizona, he throwing it 1,000 times. I'm not calling you a liar, but I'm just looking at the statistics, the bland statistics, and they throwing it 40, 37 times, 50, not 57 times. So I don't see where you talking about he love a 2 tight end. If that's true, then hey, that's good. If he got a heavy run focus, they should be okay. But all I'm seeing is Jacoby Brissett drop back 60 times a game. It seemed like he drawing up quite the passing scheme with Jacoby Brissett, who's a micro carbon copy of Jared Goff in a lot of different ways. Every time I look, it's somebody with 3 yards, 3 carries, 81 yards. Hold on, let's go to ESPN. I ain't seen a nigga with 20 carries yet. I forgot the national championship come on this night. I might watch it. I don't really care about watching the Pistons and the Celtics. That's a good one. But hold on. I'm trying to pull this up. Hmm. There we go. All right, give me 5 seconds. Here we go. All right. So let me take this off the screen. So even in this game, James Conner had 12 carries. I mean, 27 carries, 29, pretty balanced, 29 passing attempts, 27 carries. That's versus the weak ass Saints though. Um, okay, going to the Carolina Panthers. Murray had 25 attempts, passing attempts. They had 22 rush attempts. They had no success rushing the ball, but that might be personnel, if anything. San Francisco. This was one of the most slobber knockers, 16-15. They first lost. Yeah, 41 pat. Well, my bad. 35 pass attempts to 28 rush attempts. That's pretty much, you know, even. I guess, and also they did lose James Conner. That is true. They lost him. I think that might have been the game they lost him in. Or, going to the Seattle game, they had 41 pass attempts, 17, but they probably was, it was tight game, but so basically, even with Murray, what I'm seeing is still they couldn't run the ball with much success. He said, I'm disappointed. B. Taylor said, man, casual fans, Cardinal fans hated this guy because they said he ruined Murray and very well could ruin golf. It's boom or bust for this regime if they doesn't work, but we don't know it won't. But did he really ruin Kyler Murray? Or did Kyler Murray ruin Kyler Murray? But we see all we seen is he was balling with Jacoby Brissett. That's all we know. He was balling with Jacoby Brissett. That's all we know. When Jacoby got in, he was balling with Brissett in that very same offense. Murray ain't golf. Brissett is closer to golf than anything. So if he had success with Jacoby Brissett, I think he can have. I think that's what they pretty much looking at. Another cheap hire. He'll be scapegoated if it doesn't work. Yeah, and this may be just let you know that Dan Campbell secretly pretty much still want to call the play. So if he go through a rocky period, Dan Campbell gonna take the playbook from him. That's all we know. Maybe it was best. Maybe he hired him and Dan still gonna call plays. Dan want to call plays. He like it. Dan wanted McDaniels. Melvin said no. I think there's some riff in the. Who is Melvin? I don't think he. I don't know. Because McDaniel's going to Tampa. It sounds like. Yes, Princeton will run the football. He gave the Cardinals a top 5 rushing attack with Connor. So I get the logic behind the hire. He loves Connor. Okay, so you basically saying the previous year when James Conner was healthy, he ran the football. Okay, bet. Because James Conner wasn't healthy but 3 years. This one trash. I mean, who knows? When they got Ben Johnson, you ain't know shit about him. But honestly, this smells like SOL. This is just the Lions way. They always do the opposite of what you expect and hire the cheapest nobodies you can find or promote within. Presley can't adjust when things don't work. This is SOL. One thing Presley is good at is running the football. It's a wrap, Dan and Brad. But that's all they need to do is run the football. The Lions already know how to pass the football. They already got a creative pass attack. They need to run the football. That's it. If their defense is healthy, run the football. Play action, Like I said, he had a lot of success with Jacoby Brissett throwing that football. I watched some of those games. Ben Johnson and Eric Glenn were the reasons the Lions success. Dan got carried by good coordinators. Tell me how to make some Detroit Lions chili. He said Dan and Brad both will be fired. They won't. Oh, Melvin is Brad. I think they won't. They won't. They've done enough to earn probably another 10-year tenure. They're gonna be here another 10 years regardless of what they do, short of going on 16. Melvin, aka Brown. I call him Melvin. Where'd that fucking name come from? Is that his real government name? Y'all got me looking that shit up. Nah, name seem to be Brad. But yeah, he ain't going nowhere, bro. I'll tell you that right now. But if what you say is true that he like to run and pound the ball, the Lions already got a creative offense. They already got a creative pass attack. We've seen that. So if you just bring in somebody that love to pound the football, then you win right then and there. If you what you tell me he do 2 tight ends, obviously with Jacoby Brissett, he threw that bitch last year. With Jacoby, they threw it. I mean, Kyler Murray is different though. You know, Kyler Murray is different. So for him to have any type of success with Kyler Murray shows me that he knows how to adjust to a quarterback. But what he did with Jacoby Brissett, I mean, what he did with Jacoby, which I won't. He balled with Jacoby. I don't know what game he threw for 400 yards. Probably was this. No, my bad. We looking dead at it. My stupid ass. Hold on. Yeah, he threw for 452. It was a loss, but look at Brissett. I'm just going off the passing numbers. 320 versus Indianapolis when they was good. 279, 261, 258, 452, 317 versus Jacksonville, 301 versus Tampa, 271 versus the Rams, 249, 203, 212, 243. So it seemed like when he got a standard drop back quarterback, he know how to throw that hoe. He know how to throw the football from what I see. He said it stems from nicknames from Lion Syndicate. Oh, I don't, like I said before, I get why he don't like Brad Holmes, but I'm pretty sure he been around longer than me. He know this is good as it get. It don't get no better than this unless they hire me. But it don't get no better than this. He know it. So him trying to run Brad out of town, you know, if that's what he's trying to do, it don't get no better than this. He said, this tells me that they're planning on keeping David Montgomery. So that's a great point, D. Meach. Yeah, then they should keep David Montgomery, bro. And you know what's so funny? Me watching that Bears game last today, I should have just went live on that game, just talking about some of the things that Ben Johnson took with him, and that was him. Like when you see that he was the only coordinator or the only play caller, or they were the only offense this year that had 2 running backs that had 750 plus rushing yards. Swift had like 1,000 or 1,100. The rookie they had 750. Guess who didn't? Guess who had two running backs that was capable of doing the same thing? Detroit, and they didn't come close this year. Chicago was the only football team that had 2 running backs with 750 plus rushing yards. He took that with him, bro. Now, one thing he didn't take creativity with him. They still was a creative football team. But what he took was the mentality of ground and pound. He knew how to ground and pound with Montgomery. When he left, a piece of David Montgomery's production left. A piece of David Montgomery left with him. That's what you didn't see. And to keep it fair with you, between the 3 coordinators that Jameson Williams had, Dan Campbell had the most success with Jameson Williams. Y'all forgot. If we being honest, Ben Johnson didn't look like he was the better. Ben Johnson didn't fuck with Jameson Williams neither. If we keeping it a beam, bro, Ben Johnson didn't fuck with J-Mo. They struggled with Ben Johnson was benching J-Mo. We was talking about shit. It's time to trade him. Ben Johnson did not fuck with Jameson Williams. So to, put that burden squarely on John Morton's shoulders, Ben Johnson had problems getting Jameson Williams the football. He didn't trust Jameson. Jameson struggled. He struggled, worse than Isaac Tesla did. He was a top What, 15 pick? Tell me I'm wrong. Dan Campbell's had the most success with Jameson Williams when Dan Campbell was the play caller. So if we really digging into this, bro, and keep it a bit, the Lions didn't even want to trade up to get Jameson Williams. They wanted to go get Garrett Wilson. You know what I'm saying? So if we being real, a lot of the shit that John Morton was doing, they should have really allowed John Morton to finish the season out. They should have, and it wasn't the reason they did not win the Super Bowl because of John Morton. They didn't win the Super Bowl because Brad Holmes or Melvin won't draft durable guys, and Brad Holmes, this is my hypothesis on Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell he wants to overcompensate for hitting because they don't play preseason. So when they go hit versus the inner practices they might do with the Giants and Houston in past seasons, they overcompensate for hitting because they don't play preseason. My thing is maybe you should just play preseason. My thing is take some of the hitting out. They hit too much. That came from Avonte Maddox. He said they never hit like this in Philadelphia. But let me address that comment that Brad don't draft well. And at the end of the day, nobody had a great draft last year. If you look through the 2025 draft, Terry McMillan was probably going to be the offensive player of the year. Like, really, not like I ain't the most entrenched dude in football these days or follows college like that. But if you look through this draft, who really tore it up from start to finish? Cam Ward, Travis Hunter, Abdullah Carter. That's the guy I want them to trade up to get. He didn't do shit. Y'all remember hearing Mason Graham name this year? Ashton Jenney. This T. McKillen dude, he was the best this year. He was the best. He's probably going to be offensive rookie of the year with 1,014 yards, 7 touchdowns, and 70 receptions. Shamar Stewart, Jamar Chase had more tackles than he had this year. Colston Loveland, he had a good season towards the end of the season. In the beginning, he wasn't doing shit. He dropped 2 balls yesterday. Emeka Ibuka, or maybe even Emeka Ibuka might be the offensive rookie of the year. I think I see him in there. But the rest, Tyler Warren had a great year. We talking about tight ends. Emeka Ibuka had a great year. But other than the tight ends, Matthew Golden didn't do much. Jackson Dart up and down. James Pierce came on hot at the end of the year. We tried to get him. Tyleik Williams told us, revealed that he had an injury. That's what slowed him down. Honestly, who really was like, damn, we should, nobody. Maybe we could have got James Pierce. Quinshawn Judikins, we wasn't in the running back, market. Luther Burden had a silent year, but we wasn't in the receiver market, not that high. So ain't nobody really this wasn't a great deep draft, and maybe 2-3 years down the line it will be. But what I noticed with Ben Johnson took the dual running back system with him. He took he was the nasty ground and pound that died with him. I think Dan is a passaholic. I thought John Morton was a passaholic. Nobody would stick to the run. You said Atlanta draft was good. Who the fuck Atlanta draft other than James Pierce? I wouldn't know. Hold on. Welcome to Atlanta. Well, they mad as hell. They hired Stefanski. I hear DC Young fly go off. Well, Matt Ryan is running the Falcons right now. I just want to know 2027. 2025, my bad. They won't tell us what they did. So whatever. He said, what about the draft before that? Well, Terrion Arnold didn't know. I think Terrion is a good player, but Ennis Rockstraw wasn't. So you got that one. But But as questionable as Brad Holmes and Dan are, they're the best coaching GM the Lions had since the '50s. Only reason things going down south, they can keep consistently getting injured. And they picking these guys. A lot of these guys they pick had major injuries in college. Ennis Rackstraw, Aiden Hutchinson, you know what I'm saying? Josh Pascal, Levon Enrique. I mean, guys that if they had healthy, probably would have won a Super Bowl or two. We're better off with Brad and Dan without them because there's no reason to trust Sheila to find better people to replace them. Dan maybe with Brad. He said we need to keep Monty as long as we can. He said Ben rarely used, yeah, because he didn't trust him. JMO didn't really take off to Dan started using them. If Brad don't draft well, it won't matter anyways. What about the draft before that? I already addressed that one. The Niners and the Lions have the same. Niners and the Niners have the same brutal practices that the Lions do. Kyle Shanahan and Dan be working these dudes too hard, leading up to major injuries. Injuries are in the Niners and Lions DNA. They need to make that adjustment. The only thing stopping the Lions or Niners from winning the Super Bowl are injuries, and the Niners got lucky to make it as far as they did with all the injuries they had. And they got a couple old niggas over there. Trent, Christian McCaffrey. He said, I mean, in a fragile ass Bosa, Joey Bosa, that boy fragile. If he was made in Korea, it'd probably be stronger. So I mean, if the day draft ain't looking too hot, then they bring in better free agents. You can't say you just build the draft and then when the draft ain't getting choke it up to that. I think even chalk it up to that. Um, he said that they picked the 15 and 36 OC. I gotta laugh. He said Williams from Georgia too. Who you talking about? Michael Williams? Is that who you talking about? This shit, hurry up. They got me in the 2026 draft. I don't even worry about it. I think you're talking about the dude from Georgia. He said Lions are hiring former Cardinals offensive coordinator Drew Petzing as their new OC. Dan Campbell tabbed as an experienced play caller for the next offensive coordinator. The Lions are hiring former Arizona Cardinal OC Drew Petzing, hope I'm saying his name right, as the offensive coordinator. NFL Network insider Ian Rappaport and Tom Porcelli reported Monday per sources informed them of the situation. After since with Minnesota 2019, Cleveland 2022, where he coached tight ends, quarterbacks under Kevin Stefanski. Petzing spent the past 3 seasons leading the Arizona offense under Jonathan Gannon, who was fired following the 2025 season. It was a mixed bag for Petzing's offense in the desert. He led the top 8 offense in 2024 with a 0.3 EPA per play. However, a rash of injuries, including at quarterback, running back, and inconsistent offensive line, sank them to 24th in EPA per play in 2025, negative 0.6 with zero running game. The Cardinals became pass happy offense with backup Jacoby Brissett under center. So basically, injuries and erratic offensive line play. That's pretty much what they chalking it up to. That's what they chalking it up to. So I mean, shit, it is what it is. He come here and they can stay healthy. And they can stay healthy. Shit, maybe he might have something. So, in 2023, they had a 139.1 rush yard per game, 4th in the NFL. In 2024, they were 23.5 points per game, 12th in the NFL. In 2024, they was 144.2 rush yards per game, 7th in the NFL. In 2025, they were 232.6 point passing yards per game, 7th in the NFL. So I mean, he's had success. It's just injuries and not being able to get the offensive line that they wanted. Or getting the offensive line that they wanted. So I'm reading he has success. And, for the most part, if he's successful this year, he's probably going to be gone within a season or two. So, according to Jeff Darlington, Detroit didn't view Mike McDaniels as the right fit for the OC position per Jeff Darlington. Dan liked McDaniels a lot, but the Lions didn't view him as quite the right fit. So, the fuck did that mean? Was it a philosophical difference? So it wasn't that he turned down the job. It was the fact that they didn't see him as the right fit. Can I translate that for y'all? It's exactly the same. The same reason. Let me say this. The same reason. I'm gonna tell y'all. The same reason I said Arthur Smith was a better fit than Mike McDaniels is the same reason they took this guy for Mike McDaniels. Mike McDaniels, he don't run the ball consistently enough. So what I'm reading and what Juan's saying about this offensive coordinator that they got, bro, he likes to run the football. He likes to ground and pound. That's what the Lions need. They need somebody that's going to ground and pound it. Mike McDaniels is not a ground and pound guy. Mike McDaniels, is the reason why they struggle going to Buffalo. They struggle playing New England. They struggle outdoors. He doesn't have a toughness mentality. See, y'all just looking at the name. I told y'all, and I made the video. I said Arthur Smith was a better fit than Mike McDaniels. A lot of y'all niggas probably laugh, but I told y'all what the Lions need when Jared Goff is good, it's behind the running game. Caleb Williams, what's the difference between Eberflus, who got fired by Dallas already too, and this year? It wasn't that Ben Johnson just drew up, great creative plays. The Lions still drew up great creative plays, right? The difference was Ben Johnson he believed in running the fucking football. He believed a hat on a hat. We gonna come right at you, down your throats, no diddy, pause, and you gotta stop us. Even if you stop us, we gonna come at you for 4 quarters running the football. That's why they took this Drew Petzing guy. Now that I'm getting more information from Juan and I'm researching and stuff, Mike McDaniels is not a tough, strap your nuts on type of coach. That's why he ain't the coach in Miami no more. They got the Packers defensive coordinator now. That's why I told you, and I said this, Arthur Smith was a great fit for this job because he believed in physical football. The Lions lost their physical edge. And when you breaking in a new offensive line, the number one way to transition your offensive line to be better, to play better, and to get camaraderie, because it's all camaraderie. The offensive line is a unit. They all move on one accord. The best way is to get them big uglies moving forward, imposing their will. You don't want to come in. Basically, you can come in with 4 new offensive linemen next year, because I say that 4 new offensive linemen, because you might have Tate going to center. They might move Mahogany back to right guard. They might bring another left guard, and another left tackle in. So that's one thing. So when you breaking in a new offensive line, guess what? We want you to move forward, so then we get you comfortable on your toes. Honestly, I think this was a great hire. I think y'all got caught up in it. I just didn't think Mike McDaniels was the best fit. He wasn't tough enough. I thought had he came to Detroit and learned to be tougher and more stern, he'd go on to be a great head coach. But he's not tough enough. And then also, you got to realize there's some beef going on. And I got a video where I talked about Ben Johnson. The Campbell tree In the Sean Payton tree, they beefing with the McVay tree. You know what I'm saying? They beefing with there's some beef going on there. There's some beef going on there for y'all who ain't hip. They mad at Ben Johnson for what he did to Matt LaFleur. Even though Matt LaFleur did something, even though when y'all see the video I did, it'll make more sense. Seeing from the different, but they mad in this beef. So the Campbell, Bill Parcells, Sean Payton tree beefing with the Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay and them tree. I love it though. But I'm the more and more I'm hearing about this hire with Drew Petzing, I like it. This is the guy that they need. Yeah. This is the guy that they need. You got a guy that love to run the football. He love to put 2 tight ends in there. He love to play heavy, right? I love that. But also, he's had a lot of success with a standard status quo quarterback like Jacoby Brissett. Him and Goff would be fine. And guess what? The Lions already have creative plays from John Morton, Ben John. They already have creative pass plays. So if you can integrate that run game into that pass, I like it. I told y'all McDaniels, and so many words try to tell y'all McDaniels wasn't a fit. He not tough enough, bro. He don't run the ball enough. He too soft. But you see the screen, Detroit Lions didn't view McDaniels was the right fit for their OC position per Jeff Darlington. Dan liked McDaniels a lot, but the Lions didn't view him as quite the right fit for them. And he wasn't. But if Dan really liked him enough, they should have gave Dan the autonomy to take him, if I'm being real. Dan should have had the autonomy to take him. At the end of the day, yeah, you know, that's what I always wondered about them. When they come to players and coaches, you know, is it to the fact that we all don't agree, we go somewhere else? Does Dan get the right to be like, I really like this guy, I'd rather have him? That's my number one question. Can Dan do that? But I like this hire. More and more, I like this hire. I love the Arthur Smith hire for them same reason. The Lions need to run the football. They need to get their toughness back. And if you didn't watch Chicago this season, or you didn't watch Chicago versus the Eagles or last night, you see what Ben Johnson took with him. He took a mentality with him. He took a mano a mano, macho, we gonna run it down your throat mentality. And they got a guy that's gonna do that. Either him or Arthur Smith, I'm fine with. I like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. Now the whole, he struggled with Kyler Murray, I don't get too damns in the what about that because we didn't got Kyler Murray. The guy that he was successful with in Jacoby Brissett, we got the white version of Jared Goff with more talent. He said, I'm only concerned with the president's ability to adjust if something isn't. What is there to adjust? What is there to adjust? Run the football, play action. That's all they got to do. He'll be able to make proper adjustments. He won't be playing with a limited quarterback in Jacoby Brissett. He won't be playing with a quarterback where he got to change all his X's and O's for Kyler Murray. They're going to integrate a lot of the things that the Lions doing right now, and they're going to integrate it or combine it with what he does. I'm telling you what's going to happen. Pretz will come back to our O-line because if Brad and Dan don't improve the O-line, he would have to run the ball. Brother, they got to put you on a bigger platform because you put stuff into different perspective. Don't follow the crowd. You do, man. Shout out to you, bro. I had information. Shout out to Juan. The more information that leaked out, the more that he told me, the more that I went to research, and the more information, it made sense. I told y'all, when you look at Arthur Smith, that's what they needed. Arthur Smith needed Detroit. Detroit needed Arthur Smith. The reason why Arthur Smith needed us, he needed just more. And I didn't know he was only 43 years old, fairly young. And this guy's 38. We needed more creativity. He needed more creativity in his offense. We needed him because we needed the ground and pound game. The Lions need ground and pound. And that's just, we need ground and pound. With Jared Goff, it need to be ground and pound. They can do all the other sexy shit, the overalls, the shit you do with St. Brown. He ain't had no St. Brown there. The tight end that he had, Trey McBride, he's a good tight end, but he ain't Sam Laporta. Respectfully. You got Tesla now, you got JMO, you got St. Brown. You know what I'm saying? It's just got to get the offensive line. You got Jahmyr Gibbs. And even if they got rid of Dave Montgomery, hey, you know what? Hey, maybe they bring in James Conner coming off injury. James Conner would be a great pickup for them, even coming off injury. Because guess what? You don't want James Conner, you don't want Dave Montgomery splitting carries with Gibbs. Conner coming off injury, maybe you give him 25-30% of the carries. He's great in the pass game. He's a great story. He survived Hopkins lymphoma. Strong character guy. James Conner fit right in that locker room, honestly. He said, I wouldn't mind McDaniels, but the Lions clearly want a guy that can simply pound the football, and the Lions are built to run first instead of the play. We got to run the football. And that's it. Then Mike McDaniels don't give a fuck about a run game, especially when he's in Miami. He was a run game coordinator for some years, and I see why Kyle Shanahan put him as a run game coordinator. How many Detroit Lions? How too many? Some I don't know what you're saying. Yeah, only time will tell. But as far as what they need and what this guy's lining up, it seemed like a great fit. He said they're higher and boom bust. If it works for Dan Campbell, it will be since James Ben Johnson. My thing is this: when Mike McDaniels, it was a boom or bust. Wasn't no guarantee Mike McDaniels was gonna come in here and have success. He said, "Give me Cliff Kingsbury." I'm just joking. I like Cliff Kingsbury. He run a college style offense. He don't know how to run the football. That's why Jaden Daniels is where the fuck he at right now with two fucked up elbows. Excuse my language. That's why he at where you can't come into this league and expect Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Jared Goff. And I'm telling y'all, the thing about Josh Allen might be done, y'all. Josh Allen his career might be over with. I'm going to say it like this. Buffalo offensively, they need about three things. And I'm going to explain these three. They need another running back, and they need two more receivers. And I'm explaining it like this. Josh Allen taking too much punishment. So the best thing they can do is get a Devon Achane, get a scat back to go with James Cook. They need a real receiver that can go over the middle, a T.O., a Jimmy Smith, a Muhsin Muhammad, a Brandon Marshall. If you're going to play in Buffalo, they need that receiver that's going to make the tough catches. And then they need another receiver that can be your Jordan Addison, that can be your J-Mo, that can be your George Pickens, somebody like that. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I bring back Brandon Cooks. I love what they got with Kincaid and Dawson Knox, Keon Coleman. I don't know what to say, but they putting too much on Josh Allen. He's taking too many unnecessary hits. Josh Allen shouldn't be rushing the ball 10 times, 20. Look at, it's too much. He's too much poundage on him, man. It's time for them to get another running back. Take something off of James Cook. Time for them to get a real strong receiver that's gonna go over the middle. I think they get over the hump. I really do. They need to invest into a big physical receiver, bro. He taking too much of a pounding. Now, in retrospect, Denver got the number one pass rush, but he taking too much of a pounding, man. He about 30 years old? They must help him now. Those things that I list, and then they need to pass. They need some more pass rush. They must help him now. Yeah, he be 30 in May. They must help him now. Before he end up like Cam Newton, before he end up like Andrew Luck, y'all got any questions I answer? They must help him now. One thing I admire about Ben Johnson, and y'all ain't paying attention to, he ain't run Caleb Williams last night. Caleb Williams got 10, 12 more years in his career. Caleb ran one time. He got smacked too, but he ran when he had to run. Josh Allen, that shit got to stop. 10 carries, that got to stop. One thing that's going to allow Jared Goff to play this game for a long time, Goff ain't got to learn to stop an addiction of running the football. Goff know when to get down, when to get the ball out of his hand. Allen got to figure out, you know what, I only need to run when a game on the line, or we need to pull out the runs in certain playoff situations. If they want to really enjoy Josh Allen for another 10 years, maybe let's be realistic, 6, 7 years, the running shit got to stop. It got to stop. It got to stop. No matter how big and strong you are, it's only so much abuse you can take in this league. Shout out to you, Daryl. Appreciate it. He said McDaniels took Jimmy G to the Super Bowl, bro. Perfect fit for golf. Two different scenarios. Two different scenarios. But also, you got Kyle Shanahan. Golf, Jimmy G ain't golf. But you got Kyle Shanahan that probably made that motherfucker run the football. But what I seen in Miami without Kyle Shanahan, they ran the ball some, but he didn't run the ball like they ran in San Francisco. That's all I'm saying. And maybe he could have made that adjustment. Shout out to Miss D. Salute. He said Buffalo. Yeah, he fired Sean McDermott. I mean, it is what it is. Did he deserve to be fired? Yeah. I'm going to say he should have been fired. They was crying too much. Too many tears in that locker room, bro. Y'all grown-ass men. I don't want to see a quarterback crying. The other big motherfucker, Dawkins, was crying. Like, get y'all crybaby asses on, man. Y'all just crying too much, man. Go get better. Too much crying. Want to see that shit? Bunch of grown-ass men crying. Give me one. They ain't had a Dan Campbell cry like damn, I let you down. It was they cheated us and let the tears down. Like one of them fucking snot running from your nose cries. Josh won't win the Super Bowl in Buffalo. His style of football is not saying, well, he's not reaching. He's reaching 30. That's exactly my point. Take that load off of him right now. I think he's capable of just playing in the pocket. I think he's capable. He's a fucking great talent. But now it's the time. Ben Johnson kept going to fourth down. He didn't need to. Instead, at the end of the day, kicking ain't guaranteed. I'm not mad at it. Maybe he should have kicked a couple field goals, but that ain't Washington. The Chicago didn't lose because of the interception. That interception. I'm gonna tell you why Chicago really lost. The defense lost it for Chicago. Stafford fumbled once. He gave them 3 or 4 interceptions, and they didn't catch it. And it's cold. Had Chicago got 1 or 2 of those turnovers from the Rams, the game would have been a wrap. They lost the game because they didn't capitalize off the 3 or 4 or 5 turnovers that Stafford gave them. They didn't capitalize off one of them. They didn't lose because they went for it on 4. I thought he was going to go for it for 2. I would have called a read option pass. That's exactly what he said. He thought about it. But then again, they should have won, but it's growing pains. Chicago next year, a lot of their capital is going to go into that defense. He said, yep, I like play calling, mixing, run, and pass. But yeah, Ben, run that bitch. Yeah, Ben to run that shit. That's what makes me believe in that NFC game against Washington, that playoff game. I think Dan wanted to throw the ball. Dan got a throwing problem. Mike McDaniels will be a disaster in Buffalo. That's my point. Mike McDaniels in Buffalo, unless he can get back to running the football, his thing is too finesse. He too finesse of a coordinator. It's too much finesse. Mega Hustle 313 put it in perfect perspective. His teams are not tough enough to play in Buffalo. Like when you start talking about the Jets and the Giants, you talking about Aaron Glenn, tough, nasty motherfucker. John Harbaugh, tough, nasty down there in Buffalo. Even Stefanski, you say what you want to say about Stefanski. The black community don't like Stefanski but I like him as a coach. I like what he did in Cleveland. I like him and Kevin O'Connell too. Obviously that, this Drew Presley guy come from the Kevin O'Connell trio. I like those guys. Yeah, I like those guys. But yeah, I mean, yeah, you got to have a certain toughness. And that's what, Kevin Stefanski going to bring to Atlanta, a certain tough. They're going to be a tough football team. DeMeco Ryans, he bring that toughness down there in Houston. So, yeah. They defense been mid all. Yeah, they knew it. They said on the broadcast last year, they told Dennis Allen that all the capital was going to go on the offense to support Caleb Williams, and he would have to, he had to make fucking a chef special with scraps with the defense. They told him they weren't going to do nothing. So defensively, They probably, because remember they got the Tooney kid, the offensive lineman for Kansas City. They drafted Coaston Lovestone from Michigan. Drafted Luther Burden from Missouri. That was J-Mo teammate in high school. So a lot of the capital went, and you got to think in years past. They traded for DJ Moore. To get Caleb Williams, I believe. They also they drafted Romeo Duzier. I don't know what the Bears, in fact, they talking about the Lions' infatuation with receivers. Man, the Bears, they love some fucking receivers, boy. They love some receivers. So, so yeah, I mean, so yeah, they told them straight up, like, hey, we ain't got nothing but love for you on defense, baby. Remember Heavy D? Ain't got nothing but love for you, honey. I got nothing but love. They had nothing but love for him in a pound. Figure it out. Figure it the fuck out. Bears were kind of playing with house money, y'all. Of course, the first year. With that gay-ass quarterback they got, he a bad motherfucker. Rainbow boy. He even had a rainbow sweater on last night. He a bad motherfucker, boy. Hey, almost make you want to paint your fingernails if you could throw like that. Still wouldn't do it. He nice. He nice than a motherfucker. His arm talent is phenomenal. But the thing about it is, he might suffer from that Kyler Murray, man. Can he be when he has to be on time? When he a timing quarterback for real, and Ben Johnson trying to get him in rhythm. That's what he trying to do. He not a rhythm quarterback. Now that's the difference between Kyler Murray and Drew Brees. Drew Brees is a rhythm guy. You know what I'm saying? He a rhythm guy. You can see the little rainbow on his arms, but he a rhythm guy. Kyler Murray, he off schedule. You know what I'm saying? You look at a guy like, Josh Allen. I think he could play with a rhythm. Bam, Troy Aikman. Oh, go to rhythm. Jared Goff, he played with a rhythm. Even Shedeur Sanders, play with a rhythm. But you got some of these quarterbacks like Murray, Caleb Williams, Brett Favre. They play off rhythm. They play off, they kind of play like, schoolyard football. But can you get them to play? Can you get him to comfortably play from a timing quarterback from the pocket? That's the question. Because he got a lot of situations where he's smart, he know where to go with the ball, but the ball don't be on point. He's very erratic with his with I don't know what it is. Is it processing? Is it just the accuracy? He's better when he's able to break the pocket down and make something happen. He reminds me of Kyler Murray a little bit. Great arm. Not that big of a guy, but when he best when it break. When you play from the pocket, you want to keep him in the pocket. If he ever master the pocket, it's over with. If he ever really take command from the pocket, it's a wrap. He said, "I think the Bears will be the king of the North." Hey, I don't know. Green Bay just always misses something. Obviously, Minnesota might have made a problem with the quarterback. I like what the Lions did with this new offensive coordinator. See what they do. But I honestly think we'll see. We'll see next year. They got the target on their back. We'll see. But from top to bottom, the Lions is the most talented team in the division. They're the most talented. It ain't even close. And nor should the Bears be in there talent-wise. This year one. But as far as talent, Green Bay don't touch us in talent. Minnesota don't touch us in talent. And Minnesota, the Lions they just can't stay healthy. They can't stay healthy. Caleb is inaccurate. If he can figure that out, I don't know if it's processing, if it's mechanics. He just do some. Him and Jordan Love got the same problem, bro. These motherfuckers will throw a lot of great balls and then come back and throw some wild shit. So it is what it is, man. But hey, man, appreciate y'all for tapping in. Hit the link in the description. Link tree, you can find me everywhere. Peace.